Okay, so today is actually November 8th, and we're going to be doing the first tutorial demo that's in chapter 12. The tutorials, I have the 3 tutorials that are in there, I do have assigned as homework for you to do to work through. So in these first couple days, I'm going to be showing you the demos for those. So we wanted to start here on page 419, and we're going to be working through this tutorial. Now, I will say that I'm not going to follow it to a T. I'm going to demonstrate how to do things. I do have some differences in some of the in some of, hold on, I want to get underneath here, in some of the final drawings, but there's good information in here on how to get dimensions where they need to be, and especially the GD&T, and I'm going to be showing you what the final product is going to look like. So we are going to be using this base part that we created probably in, I think, maybe chapter 7 or so, okay? So you should have this created. If you don't, you're going to have to draw it, okay? And I'm not going to take time in this demo to do that drawing portion of it, because we're going to focus on creating the drawing using that part. So you have to have the base.prt, you know, in its model form, and then we're going to create the drawing from it. Now on page 419, where the tutorial starts, I want you to kind of skip over the first items here. And what we're going to do is you're going to go in, you're going to really start on step number 7, where we're going to be starting a new file, and then setting up our working directory, and then getting into doing the final drawing. Now, I am going to reference my final drawing for you as the product that I want you to create. There are some similarities here, but there's some distinct differences, and the differences come in how they're applying the GD&T, and unfortunately, they're not really doing a really great scheme about it. So I have change things up a little bit so that it's going to reflect more clearly what the design intent is as I see it, and it's going to go along with kind of the rules of GD&T, the better ways of doing it. Okay, so so again, I want you to use the way that I'm showing you here as your final guide. Now, I'm calling this a base tutorial final drawing guide. Where you can find this in Blackboard is going to be in the learning plan for chapter 12, okay? And you'll notice that I have tutorial and problem guides right here in this folder. So I'm going to click on that, and right now the 3 tutorial guides that I have are going to be the ones from chapter 12 here. So the first one I'm going to do here today is going to be base. The next one is the cover plate, which is the next tutorial, and then after that it's going to be the round cover tutorial. So these are the PDFs, these are the final products that I want you to create, not the drawings that they're doing in the chapter. Okay, so again, I have some differences based on their interpretation and my interpretation of GD&T, and so I'm going along with the more accepted way of doing things. So let's kind of push this out of the way here. So these are your guides, and again, underneath here is what we're going to use. So I'm going to start Creo right now. I'm going to make sure that my working directory is all set here, and it is. Okay, so I'm going to hit OK here, and I'm going to start a new drawing. So again, this is the assumption that the base is already created as a part, and it's in your working directory. So drawing, and I'm going to call this base, and I think I'm going to call it like base 4, because I've been creating it and practicing a little bit. And the drawing part number here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that they have in the tutorial. So I'm going to hit OK here, and then I'm going to browse for my base, and my base part.prt is right there. I'm going to hit OK or open, and then I'm going to use the template, and I'm going to browse, and I want my LTC, and I want the 3-view template, not 3D view, I want the 3-view template, okay? So I'm gonna hit open and okay. Okay, so you'll notice here, it puts everything on there, but there is a little message up here, and I need to add the material, and I think the material is steel. Make sure that you have all caps So I'm going to put in steel and then hit OK, and it should populate for me, and it does. Okay, so right now, where things are located, it's I don't know, it's a little bit big and a little bit crowded. So what I'm going to do is I am going to change the scale slightly. I am going to, actually my drawing is a 1:1. I guess I'll leave it where it's at. If you wanted to put it down to 3/4, I think that would be appropriate, but I'm going to kind of get my views so that they're a little bit more centered here. So here in layout, I'm gonna toggle off the lock view movement. Okay, so notice it went from gray to white, and now when I select the front view, for instance, I get my 4 arrows, and I can now move this around. So I'm gonna just kind of move this over to the left a little bit and up a little bit, so I've got some room here. Something like that. And then I'm going to move my right view over, select that in line. Okay. And then I'm going to move the top view up a little bit so that there's a little bit more room in between. Okay. All right. And then I'm going to relock that so that they don't kind of slide out of position, because otherwise if I add some notes here, they're going to not move along with it. So I want it to be locked. Now, the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of all of the existing dimensions and notes that are on the drawing right now. So it kind of populated with all the stuff that I used to create it and just kind of mishmashed it in there. So I'm going to switch down here. There's this little menu where it says General. I'm going to switch it to Annotation, so bottom right corner here. And I'm gonna left click and hold and drag so that I grab all of the dimensions, okay? And when they're highlighted like this, I'm just going to simply hit the delete key to get them off of my screen. Now I want to also clean up, and I want to get rid of these axes and planes, so I'm going to select all here. And now I've got like kind of a nice clean slate where I can start putting things in place here. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I am going to put my center lines in each one of the views. So to do that, I am going to go to the Annotate tab. I'm going to select a view here. And it's, oh, I know why, because annotation is on. I need to switch this back to general. So I'm going to click general on, and now I should be able to select, and I can. So make sure once we do the annotation, we get rid of those dimensions, put it back to general, because otherwise you won't be able to select anything. All right, cool. So I'm going to go up to my top view here to start, and I have a choice. I can show my model annotations either with this icon that's in this little flyout menu, or I can do it on the Annotate ribbon up here. So as long as I'm here, I'm going to do that. Now, as I look at the menu that kind of flies out here, I need to go all the way over to the right to the center lines, okay? And notice that it put it in for me. When we're working with this menu on a part level, it's easier to select like the center lines and such. So you'll notice that they pop in. And all I need to do is I just need to just show for each one of these, they turn black. The other way that I can do this is in the model, in the actual view itself, I can select it and notice that it automatically checks as well. Same here and then same here. Okay, so once they're all checked, I want to say apply, and then I'm going to hit cancel. Okay, so they're in here. Now I'm going to zoom in, and I want to connect these two, all right, so that I know that they're in line when I put the dimension in. So I'm simply going to click on it and notice that it activates those 4 corners. And I'm just going to go over the top here, and I'm going to scooch it over until it meets on this side. There you go, and it's done. So that's all set there. Then I'm going to go to the front view, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go over to that tab. They're all here. I'm just going to simply check, 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 apply, and cancel. These I don't have to connect. And then over here in the right side view, I'm going to do the same thing. Now here I'm going to do the middle one, and I'm just going to do one of these. I'm not going to do the other, because otherwise I would have 2 center lines on top of each other. So I don't need to do the other one. So I'm going to hit apply and then cancel, and it's out of there. So now I've got my center lines in place, and I've got my stuff in here. So it wouldn't hurt to do a quick just save and then okay. Okay, so now I'm ready to start putting some dimensions on. Now before I do that, let's look underneath and look at my drawing that I have here. Okay, so a couple of things that I changed from what they did is they actually did the position of the holes from a corner of the part. Okay, and as I look at this part, these holes are centered in both directions. There's like two axes of symmetry here, one across the 1.5 and then one across the 3-inch. So it seems kind of silly to go from a corner when we can clearly see that everything is symmetrical here. So to do that, what we want to do is we want to establish those center planes of those non-cylindrical features so that there's a center plane about this dimension here, the 1.5, and there's a center plane about this dimension here. And to do that, we don't want to go from the sides of the part of the surfaces. We want to put our datums in line with the dimensions, and then they default to the axes, okay? So datum C and datum B are in line with the height and that length dimension, okay? And that means that our datum is defaulting not to the surface, it's defaulting to the center plane, okay? And by doing that, then this 2-inch dimension is going to evenly space it on either side of the center plane here and then be in line with the center plane this way. Okay, so that's what we have going on here with those datums. We need to have the 2-inch being a basic dimension because it is going to be the distance or the relative location between those two holes, and we want to default our tolerance for that position to the feature control frame, not to the title block. And that's why there's a box around it. It says, don't look to the title block, look to the feature control frame for those two parts. So we're going to position to this dimension, okay? We're also going to position the 1/2-inch hole that's going through, and that is also going to be positioned actually on the ear, the center of the ear. And then it's going to share the same center line or be perpendicular to the center line that is created between those two holes there. So it's going to be in between there. And then lastly, we're going to position the width of this ear that sticks up. So it's a center plane control. That's why there's not a diameter here. That's going to be perpendicular to datum A, and then share the same center line as datum B, okay? Now, the MMC modifiers pop in for anything that is a feature of size. So our holes are features of size, so their tolerance is MMC, and our datum B and datum C, because they're in line with the dimension and we have to touch two places to get at it, they also have an opportunity for a maximum material condition modifier, so we're taking advantage of that. And then the last GD&T that we're going to put on here is going to be the flatness on the bottom of the part, which then becomes datum A. Okay, so I'm going to be duplicating what we see here and demonstrating for you how to get all the dimensions in place. Okay, so let's minimize this. And what we're going to do is let's start with datum A, which is putting flatness on the bottom of the part. So on the annotate ribbon here, so I want to make sure that that's activated and I'm on it. I'm going to do geometric tolerance. And when I come down in here, it's going to have something attached to it. And it's going to remember, like, from the last time it probably did GD&T. So I'm going to click on this bottom surface here, and I'm just going to pull down, and I'm going to place this feature control frame, okay? And I place it by hitting my middle mouse button, okay? Now I have stuff I can fill in. So I want my symbol first. Now, right now it's set at position, and I want it to go to flatness. So I'm going to switch it to flatness, and notice here in the feature control frame, it's still green, it's still activated, so I can still change things. It went from that position to flatness, so that's good. The value I want to put in here is 5,000, so that's right here. So I'm going to put 0.005, okay, and that's it. Then the feature control frame is done, so I can left click anywhere inside of the drawing area. Now, once it's nice and flat, it becomes datum A. So I want to add a datum that's going to actually be underneath this feature control frame. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to go straight down. Now, I can control how long this is going to be. And once I get it where I think it looks good, I'm just going to hit my middle mouse button. And it's going to start its first datum with the letter A, okay? And it happens to be the letter that I want it to be. If I don't want it to be that letter, I can simply select up here and change it, okay? But I'm gonna stick with it, so I'm just gonna left click outside of that box, and now I have that first GD&T call out in there, okay? The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add some more dimensions in this front view. So I'm gonna select that view, and I'm going to go to Show Model Annotations. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to go over to the first tab, and it's going to put like everything on there, okay? And I'm just going to select a couple that I know are going to be in this view. So I am going to select the 1-inch dimension, which is right here. I'm going to select the 1/4-inch dimension, which is right here. And the size of the inner hole, which is right here. Okay. And then I'm going to hit apply and okay and cancel. Now, what's left over? I have only these left. Now, I am gonna just back up here, and I'm going to switch this over. For some reason, it holds on to when I actually do my practice. So when you see your dimensions, they should look something like this, okay? They might be in different locations, and that's okay. So to change the location of something, I'm just going to hover over it. I'm going to select it so that it's green. And when I get these like 4 arrows, I can then move it where I want it to go. And I think I want it to go like here-ish, okay? All right. Now, I need to do a little bit more with this dimension. This needs to actually be a limit dimension. So I'm going to click down on this tolerance, and this is where I can, you know, be specific about what I want it to do. And I want it to be a limit. So you'll notice that it has a high and a low value, but I don't want it to be on one line. I actually want it to be top bottom and more like a fraction looking. So I'm going to go over to the display here, and I'm going to click on ISO tolerance display style. Okay. And I'm going to click outside here, and now notice it put the maximum dimension on the top and the minimum dimension on the bottom. So that's good. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my feature control frame for position underneath here. So I'm going to click the geometric tolerance, and it's going to come down, and it's going to remember the last one that it did, but that's okay. As soon as I click it, this menu is going to open up, and I'm going to go to the geometric characteristic, and I'm going to go down to position. So it changes that first box there. Now I'm going to go to the tolerance value. Now, since this is a cylindrical part, I'm going to put the diameter symbol in front of my tolerance value. Now, to get that in there, I'm actually in that box right now, and I'm going to go to symbols, okay? And I'm going to hit the diameter symbol, okay? Now, it puts this in there, so just go ahead of that diameter symbol and get rid of that, and then go back in back of it. And the value that I want is 0.003, okay? And then I'm going to add the maximum material condition modifier, and that is also in this symbol box here with the M with a circle around it, okay? Now I'm going to continue on. If I want to get rid of this, I'm just going to simply select back on there, and it hides it. And now I'm going to fill in my datum boxes. My first datum is datum A. My second datum is D with a material modifier. So I'm going to go symbol, maximum material condition. And then the last one is going to be E with a modifier, okay? So notice that it's building it down here for me, and it looks exactly the way I want it. So I'm going to click back up here to get rid of that. And when it's the way I want it, I just left click outside of that box somewhere in the drawing area, and I'm all set to go. I'm all set to go. Okay, so that one's in place. That one's in place. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is I am going to put the 1-inch dimension up on the top. So I'm going to place it where I want it to go. So I activated it, becomes green, and now I can move it by dragging it where I want it. So I'm going to go right about here-ish, okay? And I'm actually going to grab it, grab it and move it out here, okay? So I like the way that I positioned it so that I can also put my feature control frame by it. Maybe I'll go down just one level here by the snap lines, like right about there. Okay, so so I don't need to put the tolerance level is there, but you'll notice that these guys are like not right. So while it's activated, if I just go down there and I hover over that endpoint and I click on it and I drag it, I'm dragging, 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 and I'm gonna let go when I get my gap. I watch for this on your drawings because you can't have extension lines on the actual part. Okay, so you have to create that gap between the part and the extension line, and now I've got that. Okay, so now I'm good. So I'm going to go back to annotate over here, and I'm going to just left click anywhere in the screen to get it to black so I'm not on that dimension. And now I'm going to add another feature control frame. So I'm going to pull this down here, okay, and I'm going to make any changes that I need to. So I do need position. And so that's going to remain, but you'll notice that here, I want to change this value to just 5 thousandths, okay? 5 thousandths. This is a non-cylindrical feature of size, okay? So we are not going to have the diameter symbol there. So I just want to have 5 thousandths. Datum A is my primary datum. And then my secondary datum is going to be datum C with a maximum material condition modifier. And then I'm going to get rid of the tertiary. There's not going to be a tertiary. Okay. So it looks like that is what I want. Okay. So now I can just left click anywhere and it's all good. Now I'm going to scooch it like directly underneath here. So it's definitely associated with that dimension, the 1-inch dimension. I'm going to click out so it is deactivated. But now I'm going to go to the datum feature symbol. I'm going to click when it's on there. So when it's red, I'm going to click it, and I'm going to go down underneath, middle mouse button, and this is actually going to be datum D. Datum D. And click out here. Okay, so that one's in place. That one's in place. And then I'm going to add the dimension from the center line to the bottom of the part. To get this one in here, I do need to add a dimension because if I tried, I don't have one that I used in my model to create it. So even if you go in and you show annotations, there's not going to be the 1.25. So what I need to do is I need to add that dimension. Now to do that, here's the trick. I'm going to select this bottom surface right here, click, and then I'm going to I'm going to hold the control key, and then I'm going to click on the center line here. If you don't do that, it's not gonna know what that dimension is. So I'm gonna let go, and then I'm gonna place that dimension with my middle mouse button. There it is. Okay. Now it's going to come up here with this well, I'm gonna reactivate it. Sorry, reactivate it, and I need to change this to actually a basic dimension. I want a box around it. Okay. So it's basic, and I need it to be 3 decimal places. So right here underneath the precision, this is where my decimal places are, okay? So I'm gonna do 3 decimal places here, and it looks good, okay? It's all set for me, and I'm gonna left click anywhere outside of there. So now it appears that my front view is done, but, it's not. I have my 1/4-inch dimension here. Now, you'll notice that I have to slide these out. So again, I'm over the top of them. I get to that point, and then I just drag, left mouse button and drag. And then I'm going to change my arrow, not that arrow. Let's change it back. Oopsie. I want to deactivate that, put it back where it was, activate it again. Almost like you got to do separate. There we go. And I want to flip the arrow. I want to put the 0.25 over there. I think it looks better. Okay, so my front view looks like my dimensions are all in place here. This looks good. So I'm going to do a quick file save. Of course it didn't regenerate. Okay, that's all right. It'll regenerate as it saves. So if I do it one more time, that shouldn't come up. It doesn't. All right, so now let's look over to let's go to the top view. Let's go to the top. Let's do this guy. So if we look at the annotate tab here, and we're gonna go over here, we now want to put the 3-inch dimension, the 1.5, the 2-inch, the hole diameter, the call out for the round, and then put our datums in place, okay? And in our feature control frame. So we want to do our top view business. All right, so I'm going to go and I'm going to click on that view. I'm going to say show annotations, and there's like a bunch of stuff, okay? So I'm going to simply select in the view the things that I want. So I want the 3-inch dimension, the 2-inch dimension. I do not want the 1.5. I want I don't want that one. I don't want that one. I do want this. Ew. Cancel. Let me try that again. This, show annotations. I want this one. That is so weird. Cancel. Okay. So let me try again. Now why did they disappear? Show, there we go. So I'm going to go 3, 2, 1.5, 1.5. And I'm just going to hit apply for right now. Then I'm going to go like this and apply. Okay. All right. It did it. And cancel. So it's leaving behind the ones that I want. It's leaving behind the ones that I want. So I'm going to click on this and I'm going to put this up over here. Okay. Now from experience, I don't know why, but it won't let me like detach this and edit and put it on the other part. My drawing shows it on the other one. I was able to do it that first time. I was, because you can see that I did it. But unfortunately, I can't anymore. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why. So I am going to put mine over on this side. I'm just going to improvise, and I'm going to click on this, and I want my arrow. Oops, wrong one. I'm going to click on this. I want that one to go to that side, click over here, and then I want my arrow to actually point to the outside rather than going through the middle there, okay? Now my 2-inch dimension, I'm gonna actually push down here, okay? And my 3-inch dimension, we're gonna put on here. We're gonna move this guy kind of over a little bit. And then we're going to put our datum in line over here. Over here. So we're going to just do the scheme a little bit differently because of the fact that I can't move that dimension. I don't know why. I don't know why. Okay, so we've got things kind of moved around and out, and I'm going to move this front view down a little bit. So I'm going to go back to layout. I'm going to unlock the view. I'm going to select. How come I can't select? Let's do this. In something. Black. Not letting me select. Oh, because I'm on annotation. I need to go to general. I don't know how that got switched. All right, so now I'm going to scooch this down a little bit to give me just a little bit more room. And I think that'll be good. But look what happened is it did not, my GD&T needs to be adjusted too. Let's see. That just a little bit closer. All right, okay, so that's there. Now let's go back up here so we've got a little bit more room to work with and it's not so crowded. So I'm going to start with my 2-inch dimension here. Now, when it actually comes in, it's going to be a nominal value. So because it needs to be a basic dimension, I want to activate it, make it green, and I'm going to go here to the tolerance and put the box around it. Depending on how many decimal places, if you need to change it, again, that's over here. So this is a 3-place decimal. So I'm going to click out here. That dimension looks good. Oh, I am going to change this. I'm noticing that I need my gap. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to pull down until I see that little gap. And here and pull down and kind of eyeball it to be about even. Okay. This dimension here, I'm going to double click on it. I'm going to activate it, get it green, and you'll notice that this dimension comes up, okay? Now, when it came in, it would have been a nominal dimension, and I'm going to get rid of the text here. It would have just been a radius, okay, a radius of 1/2 inch. And actually there was one on each one of the corners. I just picked one of them, okay, to show. And what I do is I'm going to click on this and I activate it, and I'm going to go to dimension text. Now, what this allows me to do is put a prefix, something in front, something in back, or on another line. So in front, I want this to be 4 by, and then space, okay? And then if I wanted to do something after, I could, okay? So the dimension is in here. So it's kind of like giving you the prefix, suffix, and then anything after that. I'm gonna click on this to get rid of it, and notice that it goes to 4 by radius of 0.5. Okay, so that's good. Now let's go up to the 3-inch dimension. Let's click on it. Okay, I'm gonna activate that. I need to pull the endpoints so that they're up here and not on there, all right? And my 1.5, I'm going to activate this one, and I'm actually going to push that a little bit closer rather than further away. So we're a little bit closer on that one. Okay, all right. Now I need to put a feature control frame, and I also need to put my datums in line with these dimensions. So let's go back to the annotate tab. Let me do my datums first. Now I want my datums to be in line here, and notice that it like kind of snaps to. So middle mouse button when I'm done, and see datum is going to be C. That's what I have it on my drawing. And then I'm going to do the same thing here, datum for this guy, and this one is going to snap to there, in line, right? Nice and in line. And I'm going to pull this one down, and this one is going to be the B. Okay, so that looks good. Click out here. All right, excellent. Now I need to add my feature control frame up here. It's going to be kind of long, so I think I'm going to need to go back to layout. I'm going to have to unlock. I'm going to go back to general here, and I'm going to slide this over a little bit. And I know I'm going to have to move my stuff. So in my front view here, I need to make that adjustment again. Okay, that needs to be here, and then this guy. No, I was on the view. This guy. There. Okay. All right. Now let's get our feature control frame underneath here. So it's a lot of kind of back and forth and maneuvering and making it look good. Take the time to do it, because I always like to remind students that you make the drawing once and it can be made thousands of times. So do it right. Spend the time putting things like exactly where they're supposed to be. So here's a position. It's going to be a diameter symbol in front here. So symbol, diameter, it's 5 thousandths maximum material condition, so that looks good. And it's going to be A, and then B, and then C, and we're going to use the maximum material condition in back of that as well. Okay, so that looks good. Now I am going to move it. Oh, let's activate it so it becomes green. And I want it to be right about there, which means I'm kind of over a little bit, aren't I? So I need to find a little bit more room here. So I'm going to go back to general, and we're going to move this guy over a little bit. And then we're going to grab that front view, and we're going to move it. Should do it. That over. That. And then move this guy. All right. Just going to kind of take a peek here, make sure everything else looks good, and it does. And now I need to add the datum underneath. So datum, get it red, activate it, pull it down, middle mouse button, and this is going to be datum E. Look at that. Look at that. Cool. All right, so datum E. Let me look at my drawing and just be sure that when I look at the top and the front view, that I think I've got everything. I've got my 4 by, my 2, my 1.5, my 3, my inline. Oh, do I have this in the up and down? I think I do. Oh, I do not. We got to change this dimension to be an up and down. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to go to Display, ISO, and click outside here, and there it is. All right. Probably want to scooch this down just a bit to give that a little bit more room. All right. Now I'm good. Now I'm good. Okay. All right. So all I have left is my right side view here that I need to add my information to. So let's go to the right side view. Let's do our annotations here. So, okay. So what we've got is we've got the diameter 2 by 3/4 of an inch. Now, got that one. We have the 0.44, right? 0.44, that one. And then we're going to be adding for the bosses. So those are the only two in this view that we're gonna worry about. So I'm going to hit OK or apply and then OK. Now, in this one, what we want to do is we have to put this. Gosh, there's not much room here at all. Okay, let me go back to the front view here. Let's activate this guy. Scooch him up. I'm not sure. There. Okay, that's kind of close. There, we'll put that there. Then we've got my diameter 0.75. We're going to scooch this out because this is and it's 2 by because there's one on either side. Okay. The 0.4 is going to go up here. Okay, we're going to pull that over on this side. Room. All right. Okay. Then I need to activate that and pull these guys up so that we have our gap. Make sure you're watching for that. I do take points off if you don't. And then I need to put this reference dimension in. So I'm going to do that very same thing. I'm going to go back to Annotate, and I'm going to hit the dimension, and I'm going to click once here, hold the Control key, and go to the center line, and oh, wrong place. All right, one more time. Dimension, here, Control, then top, and then over here. And this is going to be my reference dimension. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to dimension text while it's activated. Oops, I'm sorry, dimension text next to it. And then after it, I'm just going to put space REF. And notice that it's there, and now there you go. Okay. I need to add a feature control frame underneath here, so we're going to cancel geometric tolerance. And I'm going to scooch that underneath here. We'll see how we do. So we need a diameter, no diameter, so we'll take the diameter out. Position, and all I need is the B. Okay. So we do need to scooch this over a little bit. So let's go a little bit closer here. Let's take this view and we're going to move it a little bit this way. Okay. And then we're going to be able to move this a little bit back. Okay. Oh, it's close. I'm in though. I'm in. So if I take this view and we kind of pull over, and we move this guy ever so slightly. 1, ever so slightly. We're okay. We're okay. It looks pretty good. All right, my last dimension that I need to do is going to be for that boss. So it looks like as I'm going here, I do need to move this up. This needs to be moved up too. Gosh, this one got really crowded this time. Clicking. And I need to put my boss dimension in here. I'm gonna scooch this in. Okay, I need to put that boss dimension here. So I am going to go in. I am going to create a dimension, going to be from this line. Okay, control and hold, and it's this line. And there it is, my 0.02. Okay, and I'm going to scooch this out here a little bit. All right, oops, middle mouse button. Okay, and then cancel. I'm going to reactivate it, and I'm going to go to dimension text. So before 0.02, I need a 2 by space, and then after base boss. That's it. Okay, there it is. There it is. There it is. Okay, I think I've got everything. Just gonna kind of scan here. That looks good, looks good, looks good. Okay, now, I need to add my little pictorial up in the corner here. So before I do that, let's save what we got here because there is a whole lot that we did. Okay, now what we're gonna do, I gotta go to the end because I gotta remember how to do it. We are going to add a view. Okay, we're gonna add a view. So on the layout tab, we're just gonna go general view. And I guess we wanna do default all, so okay. And then I'm gonna click where I kind of want it to go. There it is. Now, the type is in here, so this is totally good. Visible area, full view, scale. I don't want this at 1:1 scale. I want this to be a custom scale, and I'm going to put it at 0.75. Okay, and I'm going to hit apply, and it should get smaller. Cool. Then I'm going to go to view display, and it says default right here, but I am going to go, not that one. Not that one. I'm going to go down underneath the follow environment, and I'm going to put in no hidden. And apply, and that's the view that I want it to look like. You can play around with some of these, but it does, wireframe looks a little, and then if we do shading, that's what we had. It's a little too dark. So the no hidden really seems to be the best, okay? And I'm gonna hit okay. And I can move this then kind of up, closer into the corner. So it's out of the way. There it is. So, so here's my 3 view drawing. So let me do another save. Okay. And now that I've saved it, I'm going to manage files. I'm going to delete all my old version. That saves you from having to go back in and kind of go through and sort through what's in your directory. Now, what you're going to actually, save so that you can, put this into a PDF format. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to File, Print. Okay, you have to do this, so pay attention. And we're going to go to Print, and I'm going to do a preview. Okay, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to just roller in and out here, and now I can see my full screen. Now, you're going to now take your snipping tool, I think is what it's called, and we're going to do the Windows Shift S. Windows Shift S. And you're going to go just past your upper left-hand corner, and you're going to drag, and release in the lower right. Okay, so now it's on my clipboard, right? So I am going to go then into a document program. So I'm going to go to File, I'm going to go down to Word, I'm going to pull it into Word. Okay, and I'll probably say, oh, this is a tutorial. Probably base, no, I'll do chapter 12, base, tutorial. Okay, and press enter, and then I'm just going to hit Control V, done. All right, and then I'm going to probably start on a new page, my next one, which is going to be the cover plates. And then the third one, which is going to be the round cover, okay? Now, the demos for the next ones are on the next day, okay? So those are going to be on November 9th. So today's November 8th is the first one. So I wanted to give you a preview and show you things here, get you started on these drawings, on these tutorials. They are going to be graded and need to be handed in. Now, if we look at our calendar in Blackboard, these are going to be due on Monday the 15th. Okay, so make sure that you're working on those now, get those in, and then we're going to transition over. Problems that are assigned after the tutorials are in chapter 12 here, underneath the homework, and the problems are going to be the 5 problems that you see here. Okay, I will be doing demos then on those after we get through all the tutorials. Okay, so if you have any questions on anything between now and when you hand in, don't hesitate to ask. Otherwise, I'm going to stop sharing the screen here, and we are going to stop recording. Have a great day.